Hey, welcome back to the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. And today we're going to get into the report card. The report card of that terrible, awful game yesterday. Um, the Pittsburgh Steelers went out and embarrassed themselves again. Um, like I said before, this team is just um, very hard to root for. This team is very mid. This team is just very inconsistent, and it's going to have to be some major, major changes. And I'm not just talking players; I'm talking coaching staff, head coach. It's going to have to be some major changes. I think actually yesterday was almost not quite there yet, but it was almost rock bottom. Um, like I had predicted, um, the stadium turned on the Steelers. Um, they got booed out of there. They got booed out of there, and it's just a sad, sad state. It's a sad, sad state because I mean we're all Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and at the end of the day, you want to see your team win. And I understand only one team can win the Super Bowl, but you want at least feel like your team is one of those teams that has a shot. I mean, because all you want to do is get into the playoffs, the tournament at the end, and see what happens. But this team, if some kind of way they do end up winning the division, which me honestly, I think that thing's gonna go back and forth. Um, it's just going. I mean, I think one week Steelers could be up, and then one week Baltimore could be up, and then I think it's going to boil down to maybe that final game. I have to look at Baltimore's schedule again because the Steelers definitely have a game in Detroit that's going to be hard to win. A team like Miami coming here probably in the cold. That should be a win, but like I say, with this team, you just can't predict it. You can't predict anything with them because they are just so they just so up and down that from week to week you don't know what you're getting from this team. And if anybody tell you they know, trust me, they do not know because this team doesn't even know what they're going to do from week to week. But with that said, let's get right into the grades and see what's going on here. So with that loss, the Steelers move to 6-6. The Buffalo Bills go to 8-4. Um, and I think they're 2 games back from the Patriots, and I think they have another game with the Patriots. So, Buffalo probably in their mind that they're hoping that they hit their stride, you know, right in time. To be honest, I really wasn't that impressed with Buffalo. I give them credit just for the fact of the way they ran the ball, and they're down to starting offensive linemen and to run the ball for over 200 some yards. And granted, the Steelers, that might not be saying much at the end of the day, but still, it's still the NFL, and if you accomplish that's a major deal. So, um, you know, Buffalo still, and it's something that I do like about Buffalo, just the fact that when you look at their receivers, I mean, you could almost honestly say they know better than what the Steelers have. But at least they did go out and get a Brandon Cook, just to see if we can get something out of this guy. Do something. At least they see that hey, we're short in receiver room. We got this great quarterback. We need to give him some type of weapon. So at this point, hey, let's bring this guy in. And he caught, I think I want to say he caught the first pass of the game. First down. I mean, so he probably only know about 2 plays, but he did come in and do something where the Steelers, no, we don't we don't believe in that. We just can win with our three slow tight ends, and you know. So as you know, the Buffalo beat Steelers 26-7. I think I had my prediction was 30-17. So Buffalo was a little less than what I thought, and the Steelers were definitely a little less than what I thought. But I had kind of felt this way, even though this was one of those games where you would say the Steelers probably could come back and win because that's just their MO to have a bad game and play a good team that everybody in the world will say, well, they're not going to beat that team, and then they end up pulling it out. But not you know, I I think at this point the fight the fight is over with this team. I don't think they have any fight left, and they I think those players realize what's going on, and you know it's a sad situation to me. All right, so let's get right to it. The quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna be honest with you. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers played terrible, and to really be honest, he probably shouldn't have even been out there. But I will say this: when um when Aaron Rodgers took that big hit and he came up bleeding and just I mean that hit basically took the life out of him. I felt as a fan, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and not even a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, just a fan of football, just a normal fan of football. I felt so embarrassed. I mean, because at the end of the day, this is a first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP, and yeah, is he what he used to be? No, I mean, and we're not fooling ourselves and saying he is, but the man can still play. Now, I think one of the things that he's kind of battling with himself is, you know, he can't do some of the things that he used to do, and I think sometimes he gets himself in trouble trying to do things that he just can't do at this point. But as far as his mind and knowing and understanding this league, understanding how to read defenses, he can do that. And when I looked at him over there on the sideline, nose, I don't know if his nose is broke, but he dripping blood, cast on his arm. I'm just like, damn, like this man came to our team and he's just getting the hell beat out of him. The offense is no good. You could tell he's totally frustrated because he makes hand checks, and like we always say with Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna let it out, and he's starting to. If you seen his press conference yesterday, he's starting to let stuff out, and he mentioned that. So I'm assuming that the receivers and I'm assuming that he got something going on where he brings the guys in for extra film study, and everybody's not showing up. And I'm probably having a feeling that Jonnu Smith is probably one of those guys that's not showing up, and he kind of let that out a little bit. So I think as this, especially if this thing start going bad, and Aaron Rodgers is gonna say the hell with it, and he's gonna let everything out. I believe. I mean, that's just him. But anyway, I just felt bad just to see that. I'm like, man, this dude, this guy came to the Steelers, and he's getting the hell beat out of him. And just the way he looked yesterday, that was just embarrassing, man. I you know, I don't know. It's frustrating. But anyway, I gave Aaron an F. Like I say, it's a possibility he probably shouldn't even been out there. I mean, he got a broke arm. broke wrist, can't really hand the ball off, can't go under center. So it's just a disaster. So at this point, he was 10 to 21 for 117 yards, 58.8%, no touchdowns, no interceptions, a quarterback rating of 6.2. Really. So it it was just bad. It was bad overall. Any way you look at it, it was just a bad deal. So let's move to our running backs. Now, Buffalo came into the league, came into this game with the 30th ranked run defense in the NFL. And they really earned that because the last few games they had people been running all over. And they didn't have Ed Oliver, um, one of their starting defensive linemen. He wasn't in the game. Um, and as we know, it's 32 teams in the league, and Buffalo is ranked 30th. But as I kind of predicted again, hey, it don't matter that they're the worst running team, stopping the run. We're not going to run the ball. Now, granted, in the second half, you was down and you needed to pass more, but I don't know. These running backs, it's so hard. It really, to be honest, it's so hard to grade the Pittsburgh Steelers offense because I just think that the play calling is terrible. I think the offense is terrible. So these players are only able to do what they can do in this jacked up system. So Warren only got 10 carries, where I thought that this was a game you wanted him to be 20 to 25 carries. You see, Cook had 30 something carries, 32 carries, I think. But we only was able to muster up 10 carries for 35 yards, a 3.5 average. He did score the one touchdown. He caught two balls for 9 yards, for a 4.5 average. But I just gave the running backs a D. And again, like I say, it's not even fair to even grade these guys like that because I just feel like you're set up to fail. They're set up to fail, so it really doesn't even matter. So let's go to the wide receivers. Again, the wide receivers at this point, folks, they are what they are. We know every week what they're gonna pretty much produce. DJ Metcalf, um, we the Steelers have found a way to basically turn him into $30 million a year, um, maybe 5 targets a game, 3 or 4 catches a game type receiver. So again, it's just so hard to even grade these guys. And Metcalf was the only receiver that caught a pass. No other receiver caught a pass. Metcalf caught 3 balls for 32 yards, 10.7 average, no touchdowns, and he got 5 targets. As much as we want to talk about George Pickens, hey, I don't blame you, brother. I hate the way you had to act out to get what you wanted, but that kid seen the writing on the wall, and at the end of the day, we may be the crazy one. Everybody wanted to jump on him and this and that, but he wanted out of Pittsburgh, and I see why. Especially going into because like DK, I can tell you now, DK Metcalf is ready to totally crash out, but he got his money. He got his money, so that that takes a little bit off. That takes a little bit of the steam off. But if he was going into if the Steelers made this trade for him and didn't give him the contract, and he was going to his final year of his contract, and he was playing, to be a free agent next year or whatever, he would have definitely crashed out by now. As you can see, he's getting into it every week. It's just frustrating, and I know all these guys are frustrated. The tight ends again. Darnell Washington, he probably led the team in receiving yards. He had a nice little 22-yard catch. But again, hey, we're doing the defense a favor. When they see that when they see those three tight ends out there, that's doing them a favor because they're not afraid of it. Yeah, he's a big guy, and it's hard to tackle him, and the guys don't want to tackle him. But teams will live with that because they know at the end. Because any team in the NFL, the one thing they don't want to get beat, they don't want to get beat deep, and these tight ends are not going to do that. They're going to catch the ball in front of you. Hey, if it take 5 or 6 guys to tackle them, we can get them down on the ground. But with that said, I gave the tight ends a D just for the fact of Smith. I think Smith might have caught one ball. Fire move didn't even he play? So like I say, this offense is just it's trash. It's just trash, and I feel sorry for the players because you only can ask so much from them because this is the system that they've been given to play in, and it's not the best. And hey, it is what it is. The offensive line again, um, they're kind of victim of this offense. Granted that they end up giving up one sack. I mean, can you say it was Rodgers? You could kind of say that, but Aaron Rodgers is trying to make a play. He's just trying to make a play, and it was funny because the angle that they showed at you could actually it was they showed the camera that was behind the offense, and you could tell it was not in there for him. I mean, granted, he probably could have threw the ball away, but even if he would have threw the ball away, he would have got hit. He was going to take that hit. So, but like I say, he's just trying to make a play. At this point, trying to get something going. The offensive line, I gave those guys a D. They only mustered up 10 first downs, 166 yards passing, 58 yards rushing against the 30th ranked defense against the run in the NFL. I don't care even if you were down and you didn't run that much in the second half. 58 yards. Are you kidding me? Arthur Smith, are you kidding me? But like I say, it is what it is. We not gonna really get into it with this. They gave up one sack. So their overall grade for offense, I gave them a big fat F. And this F is really for the coach, for the offensive coordinator, to be honest. But unfortunately, hey, the players, y'all are part of it. But this is really Arthur Smith's grade. But anyway, so let's go. Let's go into the defense, the edges. TJ Watt, another. See, this is the frustrating thing about TJ. Yes, is he getting doubled and triple team? Yes, he is. But I watch Myles Garrett. He gets the same treatment, but he got that wheel. He got that wheel to just make it happen. But you know what though? To be honest, and just to because we shouldn't even compare them two right now at this point in their career. Myles Garrett is just better. So even though he's getting doubled and triple team and he's fighting his way through that, but the thing he do move around side to side and do different things what TJ doesn't. But it's just and we don't even have to ever bring this up again. At this point, Myles Garrett is just better. He's just better than TJ. So Garrett, like I said, he gets double and triple team, but Garrett is just a better player and he can fight through that stuff and he can still make plays because he's just better. So with that said, the edges really didn't show up. They no sacks. didn't do too much of anything. Highsmith led them with 6 tackles, but I gave those guys an F. Uh, no, and then they're part of that run game. And if you watched, um, most of Cook runs were outside runs. They wasn't up the middle or in between the guards. They were a lot of outside runs, and I don't know where our edges was at. No contain, no nothing. So I gave those guys an F. Defensive tackles again, no real pressure on Josh Allen, which I think that he actually played a terrible game, but no real pressure on him. Obviously didn't stop the run. I mean, because I forget the other running back, because the 2 running backs, they had 3 guys running, but the 2 other guys, they looked just like, I kept getting them mixed. I know one is maybe Davis and Johnson. Now those guys were doing more inside runs, and they were popping off 5 or 6 yards a carry, and you know, so it was not in there. The only positive, Yaya Black, he had 9 tackles. That's actually, to be honest, that's a lot of tackles for a defensive lineman. So that's really a good game. But overall, when you give up over 200 yards rushing, you get nothing but an F. I mean, it's just what it is. Inside linebackers, pretty much the same thing. They was just making tackles 10 yards down the field. A lot of times that's really not their fault, because if your defensive line is getting blown up, it ain't nothing too much they can do. I know Queen ended up, missing pretty much half the game, if not more, with a hip injury. But when he was in there, he wasn't doing anything. So with that, Peyton Wilson, he led the way, 14 tackles, but again, F. Um, Corners, as you can see, Porter, he led the way with 8 tackles, and this guy is Porter, man. I don't really know what to say about this kid, because it's like one of them situations where he he make a simple play sometimes, and he act like he really did something, and he really didn't. I don't know. I guess he got us there. Yeah, boxing man, you are totally right. The Mike Tomlin era is coming to an end this season. I love it. Yeah, you're right. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be it for Mike, because I think what's gonna happen is the Roonies is gonna, even though everybody say that the Roonies is not gonna fire him, and they don't fire coaches, which is true. But see, people have to realize they're in a situation with Mike Tomlin of if he gets fired, I have no doubt that it'll be a team out there that wants to sign him, so he'll get a job. And when he gets a job, the money that the Steelers owe him, that money will pretty much be taken care of, with the contract he signs for. So, the Steelers just have to pay the difference, whatever that may be. So I can see this probably being the end to Mike Tomlin, but I'll get to him at the end. And the corners, I gave the corners a D. And just the fact of, I mean, Echoes had the interception, but this whole defense, you know what? That all 11 out there, y'all part of this mess. And even though Buffalo really didn't throw the ball that much, I mean, because I think Josh Allen only threw for 100 some yards, so it wasn't like they were out there getting beat. But hey, guilty by association. You part of this defense, so you ain't getting no good grade. And safety, Ramsey led the way with 9 tackles again. Didn't really do nothing special. He he made some stops, but the safeties, I give those guys a D. Again, hey, the way this defensive played, probably should have just gave everybody an F all the way down. But again, Buffalo really didn't throw the ball that much. So with that said, the defense overall grade is, is a F. You just can't. You can't. Whenever you give up 200 yards rushing, that basically means you got your butt kicked, and that's what happened to the Steelers yesterday. They Buffalo came in here and they stampeded them. Special teams, not bad. I thought Williams had some nice returns. Boz didn't get any field goal attempts. He just hit his one extra point. Wakeman actually punted pretty well, because of the conditions. It was very windy, so that was that weather where you definitely could, you looking for a guy to get a 15-yard punt, and he didn't do bad. So I gave those guys a B. Boz went 1 for 1 on the extra point. Wakeman had 4 punts for 161 yards, a 40.3 average, and like I say, in that win, so that was pretty good. And I think they only had 1 punt return. And kickoffs, I thought Williams did he did all right. So here we go. The coaching. These guys, at this point, they all should be maybe looking for jobs next year. That's just the way I feel. Now, if that's going to happen, I don't know. But that's the way I feel. Offensive coordinator, you know what? Arthur Smith is over, man. I thought at the beginning of the year, I was like, man, I didn't never like this offense, but I was like, Arthur Smith this offense is, he kind of doing some things, and somebody gonna give him a job. I say, even if it's college, if he wanted to go to college, but right now, the offense he's running, once he's done here in Pittsburgh, he's done. I think he'll be done. He can go and be a executive at FedEx and run the family business, because it might be done. It might be curtains for him. I gave him an F. They only mustered 10 first downs, 166 total yards, 58. Are you kidding me? When I see that number, I'm like, that can't be right. 58 yards rushing, 108 passing. Only, the offensive line only gave up 1 sack, but a F. Defensive coordinator. Well, and I always really count them as 2, because like I say, we know this is Mike Tomlin's defense. But Terrell Austin is going to be the fall guy, I believe, and it don't even make no sense going through it. He got an F. It's just terrible. Gave up 26 first downs, 372 total yards. Gave up 123 yards passing, 249 yards rushing. Are you kidding me? That's just ridiculous. 2 turnovers and no sacks. So defense got an F. And Mike Tomlin, I'm going to get into him. F for Mike Tomlin. This team is 6-6, moved back into second place in the AFC North, and as of today, they're out the playoffs. Mike Tomlin. I think everything's pretty much been said about him. Everybody know what the problem is with him. But this is what I will say. If Dan Rooney had some cojones and did the right thing, and even if he thought that, you know what, I still like the way he handles the offense. I mean, excuse me, he handles the locker room. I would tell Mike Tomlin this. We're firing the offensive coordinator. We're firing the defensive coordinator. Those two positions are going to be under the GM. So the GM is going to hire the new offensive coordinator and the new defensive coordinator. Mike Tomlin, you have nothing to do with nothing. You're the head coach, so you handle the head coach duties. You handle the locker room. You handle the practice plans and all that stuff. You do head coach stuff. Basically, you're going to be a CEO coach. I tell him that. And if he doesn't like it, which he has every right not to, well, there go the door. And you know, we can have a press conference. We agree not, you know, we agree not to agree. But it's time. It is time. It is time. And I think Mike Tomlin is a smart man, and he knows it's time too. So you know, we'll have plenty of time to talk about this. So as you can, you know, see, I gave the coaching an F, and it's just sad. It's just a sad, some sad football right now. So all I can say is from week to week, we'll just see how this thing go. And just try to stay positive, and that's about all I can really say. But until next time, make sure you like and subscribe. I will talk to you guys later, and we'll, like I say, we'll just keep our fingers crossed, and maybe this team can wake up and do something, but I don't know. So with that said, take care. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.